Good evening, adventurers, and welcome back to the Maze. This is MazeCast, episode number 27.
Mm-hmm.
With me, as always, is the apprentice Stephen.
What up?
I am the master of mazes, Carl, and we welcome all of you here who are joining us. Let's jump right into things. What's playing now? We had our Kingdom of Keshinar season or session last Friday, not this past Friday, Friday before
Mm-hmm.
the first. We do have that recap up on our website as promised, so you guys can read it over there. We will have a link down here in the show notes.
Mm-hmm.
Our last session was this past Friday, the 8th, because we kind of had some scheduling shake up.
As
So
always.
we won't, as always, though it's not as bad as the flagging game. But I will have that recap up for you guys this week sometime, probably by Wednesday. So we'll look for that on the website Wednesday by close of business, hopefully. Um, I have the Master and Apprentice campaign was on Saturday. We had a great time with it.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of political intrigue going on in that game.
Yeah.
Lots of plot twists and turns, and people of interest for my party to run down. So
Yeah.
they were having fun with that. We will have that recap up sometime this week.
I think I should have it.
Uh,
Just a quick note. I think I have it mostly done. I should have it by tomorrow.
mhm.
It should be up.
Okay. All right, so look for that on Tuesday. We will have a link in the show notes for you guys over to our blog where you can follow up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen writes it from the perspective of his character Aldor the Rogue, and I think it's a great write-up way to do it. So check that out. Let us know what you think. Order the flagging. Okay, still up in the air. Who knows? It was supposed to be on Sunday the 17th. Now I'm being told because it's there's some people that are going to have plans for Mother's Day on the 17th. It may be the 18th now. Who knows? I'm still waiting for final confirmation, but right now I have 3 or 4 players locked in for the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see how it goes. I will keep you guys posted as we will have another podcast between now and then. So stay tuned for that. That game is a lot of fun. It's just scheduling conflicts have been a nightmare here with 3 of the 4 players having school-age kids who are all in sports or activities. So let's get into some TTRPG news. I just saw today over on the Gary Con Discord, there has been an article that's been brought to my attention. Hasbro's CEO, Chris Cox, thinks that you should migrate your thinking to view D&D as a live online service more so than a pen and paper game. I will hold my opinion till the end. But the Hasbro CEO wants you to think of it more like a video game and less like a traditional pen and paper game. In a recent interview with Games Radar,
Mm-hmm.
CEO Chris Cox spoke about how it just makes sense for players to consider D&D from a live service framework. This seems to line up with the two new initiatives at WoTC. The first, of course, being the seasonal model
Mm-hmm.
with themed products releases that are all sorts of coalescing around a single big moment. And then D&D Beyond's new drops,
Mm-hmm.
which are their weekly drops of like different items, new rules that don't necessarily fit some into a particular book, and then digital cosmetics to upgrade your D&D Beyond account. As long as you're subscribed, these things are available to you. It's not really news per se that Chris Cox has been a big fan of the online pay-as-you-go model,
Mm-hmm.
and I think this is just him moving in that direction. We'll see. I'm not a fan of it, but everybody that's watching this podcast knows that.
Mm-hmm.
The new model will kick off with a release for a paid D&D Beyond sub with a plethora of new content for both players and DMs alike ahead of the Ravenloft source book that is due out on June 16th.
Yep.
So sometime in the next 3 to 4 weeks, they're going to basically be doing this paid D&D Beyond subs
Mm-hmm.
and different releases and stuff. So I would say by the end of this year, I wouldn't be surprised if he's looking to move everything over to like an online paywall model. But
Yep.
that's just my opinion. What do you think, Steve?
Um, I think live service kind of has a negative connotation to it for a lot of folks just because they're used to being taken advantage of and just being told, oh, you're just an old guy, you don't understand the live model. I mean, and I have been indoctrinated into this because of video games. So like this live push to live service or game as a service model has been coming in video games for quite some time. Um, the term battle pass is almost like saying Voldemort. People are like, you say battle pass and people cringe and look at you like rats.
Yeah.
But I mean, that model has been kind of slowly eased onto gamers for a while, and now it's like commonplace for a game be like, oh, it's free. Oh, it's a free game. It's free to play. Oh my god! And then it's like, oh, there's a battle pass, and there's every new tiny addition to the game. That's money. Um, so there is a negative connotation. I will say I'm not inherently against the model as long as it delivers value to the consumer. I don't necessarily care if it's like a premium title. Oh, you buy a player's handbook, $60, and you have it forever, and that it's all the content you'll ever need. There you go. Or if it's a live service, you get like a little starter kit, and then like every quarter, twice a year, they give you, oh, for $20, here's this edition. I don't really care as long as there is $20 or whatever the paywall is. If there's that much value or more in the set, I'm okay with it. But more often than not, that American dollars to player side value is just not there. We're not seeing the translation. So when I start to feel like I'm being taken advantage of or just getting kind of milked for more money, and the company's using it as a way to kind of indoctrinate you into a more prolonged financial obligation to them, that's where I'm like, well, wait a second, this kind of sucks, I mean, obviously that we don't know for sure yet. That this is new for them, and they're trying it with this drops model and then the seasonal model coming in June. I'm hoping that in June we can say, guys, this live game as a service, TTRPG as a service, D&D model is great. Look at all this content. It's I'm hoping we can look back on it and say they proved everybody wrong, or they proved the live service model is maybe not necessarily a bad thing, because I think in the TTRPG space that's pretty new. I don't know of any other big tabletop game or board game in general that is doing this kind of model. Mostly it's to preserve for video games. So
right. And I mean, I can understand it. You want to charge for that digital content. I get it. My problem is how much they want for the digital content.
Yeah, that's true.
Like people like me that before Hasbro hired a bunch of Microsoft people to lead their company who obviously want to get behind an online platform. I had all the hardcover books, and I still do. I like to have them at the table, flip through them, use them as a resource. I stare at a computer screen all day for work. I don't want to stare at a computer screen all night in my free time. $30 for a digital copy of the DM's book. That's a bit much.
That's a lot.
$60 for the hardcover book.
Yeah.
Now they do offer a physical and digital bundle for $50. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, if you could give me the hardcover book and the digital content for less than the hardcover book, then you're obviously overcharging for both individually.
Yeah.
And that may be just to drive people to the digital model, and that's fine. I get it. But is it going to be a bait and switch? I'm not trying to be a grognard here. I am old school, always will be, but I prefer to sit at a table. I mean, I play my game with the Master and Apprentice game is all online. That's because everybody lives in Virginia except for me. But that game is it flows well. The players like what we're doing with it, and it's not all they use the D&D Beyond for their characters, but that's it.
Yeah.
Everything else is online.
It's all, and honestly, it's just digital versions of the character sheet that I remember as a kid. It's all still the same. Yeah. I just have it on my screen and not on my desk.
Right. So let's move on from that. Let's go to Unearthed Arcana, the Villainous option 2.
Yep.
Steve, I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one because you have downloaded that content and gone through it.
Yeah. So speaking of D&D Beyond, I jumped in and joined the playtest, which is actually only going for another 3 days. But we grabbed the PDF and just wanted to look it over. The new subclasses outlined in the Villainous options number 2 are the Path of Lament, or Lament Barbarian, the Warrior of Venom Monk, and the Primordial Patron Warlock. I actually really like the flavor of all these characters, or all these subclasses. The Monk is kind of this like Venom centric,
which when I saw that, I'm just gonna jump in here real quick. Now,
do it. Yeah.
I love the Venom Monk. It reminds me of those old 60s Chinese, Hong Kong martial arts movies.
Yeah.
Like the Venom. Yeah, the Venom brothers. There was like a whole group of these Shaolin monks that went evil, and they had a touch that was like venomous.
Yeah, so what this reminded me of is Reptile from Mortal Kombat. Like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, this is Reptile. And he's always been like a B, C character in the games, but I always thought Reptile was cool as shit. He's green scorpion. That's pretty much it. But he's really cool. The primordial patron sounds kind of interesting, just from reading through the PDF, because it's almost like a pet class, because you're kind of managing this elemental node or sphere that kind of moves through the battlefield with you, and you can change and alter its elemental, like what element it is. So it's almost kind of like a pet class, it seems like. And then the Barbarian, I find probably the coolest one, because instead of just being... Yeah, it's like a grief-powered... instead of rage, it's mostly grief. And, I mean, of note, it gives the Barbarian the Banshee Whale spell, which is insane. That is
super cool.
But it's cool because, like, he's, like, this grief-stricken, kind of like this... I don't even, it's such a cool twist and juxtaposition on like what a barbarian normally is like. You're this rage crazy berserker style guy, and now you're kind of like this revenant walking through the battlefield tortured by your past and using that anguish, weaponizing it into spells. I mean a Banshee Whale is a spell. So like it's cool. It's a very different take, and I really like that. So anyway.
I do too. I do. Game Masters, one of the people I follow, who's one of the dungeon tubers online, we'll post a link to his stuff down in the show notes for you guys. He's great content guy, keeps his stuff short, but he did a great video last week on the Path of Lament Barbarian, and just listening to him talk about it, I got kind of excited about it, because I can get behind a Path of Lament Barbarian, just fueled by grief. You're your last surviving member of your tribe. The rest of them were destroyed. You have no people anymore, and this is what you're haunted by, their memories and their ghosts, and that's what fuels your rage. And I just thought that's got a lot of RP potential. Plus the whole Banshee Whale, I think, is great. So definitely some meat on that bone. Definitely some potential. So.
Well, I definitely think as far as the villainous paths go, that's probably the coolest one. The other Unearthed Arcana from not that long ago that had like the druid that could go into like gigantic form, that was really cool.
Yeah.
But as far as like the villainous, like the kaiju or the druid, but I don't know. I feel like in terms of just flavor and like the aesthetic alone, I think the Path of Lament Barbarian is just sick. I hope people I hope people kind of played with that in the playtest, and maybe Wizards will do something long term with it, because I do think it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely like it. So what else did you get out of that, Steve? I know there's a big focus on conditions and control.
So I was going to say, the big things, just I read through it, and just my big takeaways, obviously the 3 classes. It does continue this trend that you're seeing with these Unearthed Arcanas, that they are pushing subclasses to be more self-contained and not as like, they just want them to feel more diverse and more of their own identity, rather than just kind of like a side quest for your main class, which I know a lot of subclasses. You've heard me talk about subclasses on this podcast and on the website. I don't hate subclasses just for the sake of it. I do think that as long as subclasses feel like they're as important and as just as ingrained in your character as your main class, and they have a purpose, and it's not just I subclassed into this for this one spell and this one thing and that's it. So it does seem like they are kind of making these more fleshed out and more interesting, which I like. This does add a lot more condition heavy gameplay in terms of frighten, poison, charm, deafened, unconscious. Across all 3 subclasses, they have a ton of these status effects that they're fleshing out in play, which is good. Also, what I think is interesting is they introduced temporary creature types, undead barbarians, long duration battlefield control zones with the warlock nodes, just things that aren't in the base play. Obviously these are for playtesting. They are to change up the meta, switch up things, and see how people take it. I think the Barbarian, for me, is something I'd love to see them push in the main flagship line of games. I just think it's interesting enough to add. I do think, and I'll have to see like people that had extended time on the playtest that really actually played through like a one shot or maybe a short campaign with that Barbarian to see kind of what their takeaways were. I have to imagine with Banshee Whale, it's pretty strong. So that might get tuned down a little bit, but just for the sense of like fantasy, like just that is such a fun fantasy.
It has to be, because a Banshee's Whale in D&D, those that can hear it, if you fail a saving throw, you die.
Yeah.
Super powerful. That's one of the reasons I don't use Banshees a lot in my game, because they are so deadly. You can wipe a party in 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah.
If they tone it down and like maybe it's a rage, or some kind of a I don't know, like a
It,
rage filled
yeah,
or
yeah.
a grief filled wail of pain,
In my
and
head, it would be like what.
maybe it stuns the opponents or something.
Well,
That's what.
stuns, or even like, what if you used it and like the enemies that didn't save their throw were put into some kind of trance or frenzy where they would attack anyone, including people that are on their team. So like
Yeah,
that way, because like maybe you're filling them with all this sorrow of something that happened to you, and it drives them mad, and they just basically go into a
right.
frenzy. Which that's still
That would be
really
cool.
strong, but it's not as strong
Yeah.
as like a one tap insta kill a
Yes.
monster, you
Yeah.
know.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, a lot of fun
But good
stuff come
stuff.
out of that. So.
Yeah. So check that out. We'll have a link down in the description
Hmm.
for you guys to that content. So let's get into some Kickstarter and Backer Kit news. Our friend David over at Flintlock and Fog. If you guys haven't checked out the Kickstarter, please do. We'll have a link for the Kickstarter in our show notes. He's got a few days left on that Kickstarter. I think he's at either 3 or 4 days, but he has not reached his goal yet. I think it's a great TTRPG for those who want to check it out. Please do so. Support a friend of ours.
Yep.
Um, City State of the Immortal Cat Goddess. So our friend from back in Richmond, Deborah Kerr, we have known her for 25 plus years. She and her husband Bill are longtime D&D players, friends of ours. Sci-fi fantasy nerds that used to go to Dragon Con with us before they started going to smaller conventions in North Carolina and Virginia. She is an author, and she has been working on this City State of the Immortal Cat Goddess, which is launching on Kickstarter soon. She wrote a book called City of the Gods a few years back, and we got a copy of it that was signed by her. But this is going to be a campaign world. There's going to be a campaign book for an ancient Egyptian city. It's ruled over by a cat goddess. The artwork looks a little Bastet, but I don't know if it's actually going to be Bastet. But it's set on a world of magic, and there will be a campaign book for a sister city, a mythical Cthulhu city, ruled over by the goddess Lamassu. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Lamastu.
But that's going to be in the Kickstarter as well as maps of both cities. We'll have a link for that in the description for you guys to check it out. So another friend of the podcast, if you guys want to give that a look, definitely looks like some fun stuff.
I mean, if you say Cthulhu and Lovecraftian, I'm there.
You are there, yeah. I mean, it's got a little something for everybody. If you like Egyptian mythology, if you like, Lovecraftian horror, there you go.
Yep.
All in one friggin' Kickstarter. So you can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So check that out if you would. Let them know that the MazeCast sent you if you would. Some movies, games, and pop culture news. Steven, you want to talk about the LOTR preview?
Yeah. So, as everybody knows, Magic is just this, it seems like a factory that churns cards out day and night. And the expansions are coming more and more frequent. The Turtles one, I had a lot of fun with the Turtles one. We have a bunch of shorts on our YouTube channel if you want to check out some pulls. I got a couple mythics, which were cool. The Ronin cards are sick. Let's see, the Strixhaven, like the base, Magic original set is out. Not a Universes Beyond, but like a normal IP set. I don't know a lot about Strixhaven. I know there's actually some D&D books that take place in Strixhaven. It's like a magical college. I don't know a ton about it. I might pick up some packs if I see them here and there. That set is out, I believe, right now. Next set I'm really excited for is the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, which is one of the next Universes Beyond sets. Right. I'm going to have some art in the video for y'all. Most of the cards look pretty good. I really resonated. I love the Tom Bombadil card. It just looks awesome. And they have some retro art. One of the Smog cards. They have a Smaug the Dragon retro art card. And it kind of looks like an old... And I'll show you after, Dad. You haven't seen it yet. But it looks like a kind of... like an old book cover with Smaug on it. And I am in love with that card. I think it is sick, so I really want that card. But just, I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd, so is Dad. So I have a bunch of the original Lord of the Rings run, a couple of the runs, actually. But The Hobbit is coming out. It should be here. I don't know if they've officially announced the date, because there's so many. It's August 14th. I feel like I can't keep up anymore. It used to be like 5 or 6 a year, and now it's like, I feel like I turn around and I get an email from Wizards. It's like, pre-order this one, and it's like, damn, I didn't even know that was out. I didn't even know it was coming out soon. Because they'll put out like a preview where they're like TBA 2026, and then like a week later they're like August, and it's like, oh, you know.
Yeah. Well, like you said, they churn out
It
a
is,
lot of
and
cards.
like for
So it's hard
me,
to keep up with.
well, like for me, it's annoying because like I want to try to keep up, try to buy them before they're impossible to get. But I can't imagine
Yeah.
like if you're playing Magic, like you're having to learn. Like usually in every set they'll have their own mechanic. Like with the Fallout set, they had the Rads mechanic where if you build up,
Mm-hmm.
radiation, you take damage, all that stuff. But like you're having to learn this, as you go, and every 3 months there's 250 new things that you need to learn. So
Right.
I can't imagine like playing or trying to do it at any real level with the cadence
Yeah.
of release. Like I really don't know how you do it.
It's been so long since I played Magic the Gathering. I just don't know when I'd
It's
have time to
another
get back
language now.
into
I
it.
mean, you'd have to
It
you'd have to
really
give
is.
up every other hobby. So that's why,
Yep.
I'm a
Never
casual.
mind.
Like I'm a shameless casual where it's like, ooh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I buy it. And
Oh,
and like it is what it is, man. I don't have time to sit there
if
and
they put
like,
out a if they put out a Scooby Doo set, I'd buy it.
oh my god, dude,
'Cause I'm a
yeah,
big Scooby Doo
I
fan.
would be hurting. Yeah, I mean, I got a whole bunch of Scooby Doo shit right here, actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would be
Yeah.
hurting if they ever released
Yeah.
that. It would hurt. It would hurt.
It would. So let's talk about a new. Well, it's a
A
retelling of a
new
movie,
old
something else
story.
Hollywood. New old story, The Odyssey, with
Yeah.
Matt Damon playing the part of Odysseus. I didn't even know this was a thing until I saw the
The trailers
trailer
have been very
last.
slow to come out.
It has been. I just saw the trailer last Thursday,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That just goes to show you how I don't keep up with Hollywood things.
Yeah.
But when I saw the trailer, I'm like, holy crap, this actually looks really good.
Uh-huh.
Especially some of the fight scenes, the armor and all looks relatively um, historically accurate. But I definitely watched the trailer a couple times. I'm intrigued, so
Yeah.
I don't know that I'll go to theaters and see it, but I'm definitely interested for when it comes out on streaming. So
Yep.
we'll have a link for the trailer down in the show notes for you guys to check out over on YouTube. It's the official trailer, and it actually looks pretty decent.
Yeah, they've
So
been talking about it for a while, and they finally dropped a legit full trailer, not just screenshots. I mean, some people complained about some of the architecture and the ships that they see in the trailer, and even some of the armor, where some of it is more realistic. Like Matt Damon's armor is a little exaggerated, and basically Christopher Nolan's like, look, the armor of that time was not meant to be cool on television. It was meant to be functional, So
of
he's like,
course,
I'm
yeah,
making a movie that I want people to enjoy. So when there's a
right,
moment where it's like, that doesn't look that good, let me embellish a little bit, I'm going to do that. And
yeah,
my advice for everything Christopher Nolan, I mean, everything I've ever seen from him has been basically incredible. It's
hmm
always been good. At the very least, it's been good. Usually bordering amazing.
they're great.
So
Yeah,
if you have doubts about this movie, I would say maybe err on the side of, well, he's probably going to surprise me. What I'm excited about as a history nerd is that there's a lot of people my age and younger than me that have no freaking idea what the Odyssey is. So they don't
yeah,
teach it in school anymore. They don't. I mean, it's not really a thing. Like I had to read it. I had to read Homer's Odyssey in school. Nobody does that anymore. So I'm
yeah,
excited for kids to just like actually see like, oh, this is what the Cyclops is from. It's not just from the Hercules cartoon. It's from this
right.
story, and actually get some real cool history that was written in the ancient times on
Yeah.
on
And
people's screens.
see, stories like that, the Odyssey, the story of Troy,
Hmm.
the story of like Lord of the Rings, things like that is what fueled my
I was about to
imagination
say,
as
yeah. I
a
mean,
kid.
in my opinion,
And
like history is what gets people into, like the story of Achilles is why people like. That's why people resonate with Aragorn. That's why people resonate with these heroes because those heroes, like you read a story about a real life hero that did something that seems impossible. That happens every weekend in Dungeons and Dragons.
right,
So it's like
right,
that's what get like that kind of stuff. That is like a stepping stone from real life into the fantasy world. So it's like
right.
if somebody goes to see the Odyssey and they're like, dude, Homer, like Odysseus is a badass. They start
Mm,
looking into armor and swords. The next thing you know, they're looking at D&D. They're looking at Diablo
yeah,
4, and like we might have a guy that never would have been a gamer or a nerd or a player, and now he is because he saw the Odyssey. So like
it's all right.
that's another angle of it that I wish people would kind of resonate towards more than just hating on a movie because it's not X, Y, or Z. It's not this or that. Well, maybe it's not.
Right,
Maybe let's look at it at a little bit more of a macro lens. Think about what this might do for the guy next to you. What this might do for the
right,
kid in the aisle in front of you that you would have never
right.
really. Maybe he's going to be at a table across from you at the game shop in 5 years because of this movie. So
Yeah.
just think about that.
Yeah, I mean it's a great way to introduce people to the fantasy world.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you go back and look at all the old editions of, I mean, D&D started when Gary Gygax and friends got together and they played medieval
Yeah.
war games.
Sword and
Like
board,
they
dude.
would talk
Sword
war
and board.
games, just yeah, sword and board stuff, and that's it. Kind of developed into D&D.
I'm
So
fighting.
I'm thankful for these people, and I do all I
Yeah.
can to encourage.
Fighting with swords is the universal language, bro. It's real life and fictional. It's all the same.
Yep, every kid picked up a stick in the yard.
Of course, of course.
So, let's jump into our extra loot section.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to expand a little more on the unconventional subclasses and the Villainous pass
Yeah.
Unearthed Arcana. Stephen,
I can take the lead here if you want.
Go
so, people know probably by now, my favorite thing to do as theory craft is to come up with ideas and builds for characters, whether it's a video game, tabletop game, whatever. So that's why for me, these Unearthed Arcanas are like some of the most fun I've had from a direct from WoTC content in a while. Because it kind of shows that they're having some fun with things that, like, if you would have told me, 5 years ago that WoTC was going to release a druid that could become a giant dinosaur, I'd be like, no way. Like, that's never going to happen. And you could tell that they're trying to at least venture out a little more, do something a little crazy. So that kind of inspired me to like, well, hey, look, I wonder if I could make, maybe some kind of crazy alternate class or subclass for one of these. And what I kept going back to in my head is actually a character that Dad kind of inspired, unknowingly probably. Because before we started our game, he mentioned, oh yeah, I've never had somebody play an artificer in my game, ever.
No,
and if I didn't have a character already written up and done, I probably would have tried to jump in and do an artificer real quick. But I was already like there. Dad had already read my backstory. It was already over. But then I was like, okay, well, let me play with this a little bit. So what I came up with for a subclass for an artificer is what I call a machine spirit prophet. Okay. So my idea for an artificer was going to be, and if you don't know, an artificer is kind of like this character in Dad, you can correct me, but they kind of imbue or enchant mechanical objects. They're not really wizards, but they can enchant objects to do certain things.
They have access to wizard magic, but that magic is more to bring to life
mechanical things,
weapons, armor, mechanical, inorganic, mechanical things that they can.
They're not necessarily like the battle casters that like a wizard would be.
No.
So what I had fun when I was thinking about how would I want this character to work, I was thinking of an artificer that imbued metal tablets or cards with artificer style magic to almost be like tarot cards, like a mechanical tarot reader, and that's what my character is. That's kind of like the flavor of my character. So for this, I was like, well, let me just go all in. And this subclass will allow you to become a little bit more powerful. It's going to dive deeper into like a religious aspect. Like he believes in like this, what I call the machine spirit. And that's very reminiscent of 40k. There's something called the Omnissiah in Warhammer 40k that the Adeptus Mechanicus kind of worship as this like, this universal machine spirit where all machines are connected in one way or another. And my artificer is going to kind of lean into that and have more control over a wider area of machines, maybe animate them into constructs and do all this kind of stuff. Dip into certain kinds of magics like that. I thought that was kind of a fun take instead of just like animating us, like imbuing a sword with a certain ability.
Let's keep that in the back of our minds for our next campaign.
Yeah,
I think that would be great. It would work great as if you have the religious kind of vein on that.
Yeah.
To worship Ogma. Ogma is the creator god that's worshipped by like clerics and priests and gnomes who want to create mechanical machinery, things that are going to make people's lives better, and that just seems to be a perfect fit for that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to like meld science and religion into a character. And I was, like I said, I was already kind of building like this. And I was going to... It's funny, my artificer character, kind of remnants of that became parts of how I formed Nathan's character, Eucalis, kind of helped him form that. Is because my character was going to be a charlatan artificer that was imbuing tarot like metal tarot cards to trick people into doing like tarot readings. So I was going to be like a liar, And my story of like how I ended up in the Forgotten Realms is I was banished from Eberron for basically being a charlatan. So that was my story. And then when I was like, I already have this character, but maybe I can meld that into kind of, and that's what became the story that I gave our friend Nathan for Eucalis is basically that. It's like, You
Right.
know, we're running a Mystic shop. Is it legit? Nobody really knows. Probably not.
Allegedly.
And so that's where that kind of inspiration went. But I still like that idea of that artificer that isn't just I make an Iron Man suit, I make a rocket launcher. You know, that to me is not interesting. Um,
It's not, and I mean, I don't want. And see, that's my problem with an artificer as
it's
a
hard to
DM.
fit him
I
into
want.
like a
Well,
setting like that, like Forgotten
you
Realms.
can make it work in a setting. It's just, I don't want have.
You
I
don't
don't
want
want to have
Warhammer 40k. You don't want
five.
Warhammer
I
40k.
don't want.
Yeah,
I don't want a table with 5 players
sure.
where 4 of them are ground based and have to be stuck with ground
And then you
movement,
got
and then
Iron
have
Man.
one player flying around in Iron Man armor who can zip from city to city in a couple hours while everybody else takes several days by foot. It just
Well,
it unbalances the game
yeah,
to a
yeah.
point where it's not as much fun for the other players, especially if this guy can run in and he can unibeam cannon a dragon
Uh,
and kill it in 1 round.
yeah.
No,
I mean, it's like the
I
thing
don't
where.
mind.
Oh, God.
I want them to have like little gadgets
Sure.
that will help them out. Like, oh, maybe I have this little sphere that flies around, and it's like, I can use it like quote unquote an arcane eye. I can simply
Hmm.
hit me to spy. It's kind of my mechanical familiar. Oh, and then for like, spells, oh, well, it's been imbued where I can cast light so I can see.
Uh,
It's been imbued with like maybe twice a day it can cast magic missile at first
sure.
level or something. So it has
It.
a little bit of a kind of a combat profile,
Yeah.
but I don't want it to get overpowered. It's neat, it's intricate, trinkets, gadgets, things like that.
Hmm.
That's fun. Full blown Warhammer, War Machine armor. No,
Yeah.
no. I've got a battle mech that I ride around in. No,
Yeah, in my
but
head, like an artificer really fits into an actual game and not like fan fiction as like a utility, almost kind of like how I'm playing my rogue. Anyways, I'm kind of playing it in the same way. Um,
yeah,
but you know, even in a fantasy game, there's like suspension of disbelief, right? Where it's like everyone has a sword and a shield and a bow, and then you have a guy like flying around with a rocket. It's just gonna feel weird.
yeah,
And I know it's like
yeah,
fantasy, who cares? But also I care because like
yeah,
that's like having like, oh, in Lord of the Rings you have a bunch of hobbits in the Fellowship, and then you have Gandalf who has the Nimbus cloud from Dragon Ball Z, can just fly the ring to Mordor and blow it up. It's like, okay, well
yeah.
then, what the hell. So
We played a 3 session mini campaign where one of the guys in the campaign played a artificer. He was a gnome artificer. And he used his little gadgets to kind of mimic the spells he cast. Like he had a bracelet that if he was getting ready to get hit, he could basically activate it, and it made this little shield that
mhm.
expanded into an energy shield, which was the shield spell.
That's cool. Like
Um,
that's the way I think you
yeah,
should play an artificer. Like that's
yeah,
how you should do it.
he had like a almost like a predator type turret on
Hmm.
his shoulder that would fire his magic missile.
Hmm.
Things like that. It was kind of neat the way he kind of flavored it so that it was an
Yeah.
artificer, but still in kind of that fantasy
Yeah,
theme.
it still
So
works in the setting, but with its own flavor, which I think is kind of the point of every class, right? Where like you want it to fit in the theme, but you also want its identity to shine, but not so much so
right,
that you're taking away the shine from other classes and characters in the game.
right.
So
Yeah, I want a character to shine. I
yeah,
absolutely do, but I want
it's got to
I
be
want
every
all the
single one of them.
characters I want all the characters to shine, and I
Hmm.
don't want any one character to outshine another.
Hmm.
I mean, some will because some take more intuitively to role play than others do.
Hmm.
Like Steven is a great role player, but Steven grew up in a household where role playing was a common thing.
Yeah, I mean, I have like secondhand
Josh,
experience from my whole life, so like,
yeah, Josh is getting into it
yeah,
slowly but surely. I mean, we're like what 8, almost 10 sessions in now,
yeah,
and Josh is starting to warm up to the idea.
hmm,
Nathan is still a little slow, but Nathan's an old style gamer. He perks up when there's
yeah.
combat, magic, or
He's a
movement.
tactician. I mean, Nathan is a
Yeah.
tactician, where a lot of his value, not to slam him, but a lot of his value is literally damage. Like that's where his value
Oh yeah.
is. So like my
Yeah.
value as my character is like not necessarily a main DPS character. A
Hmm.
lot of the biggest impacts I've had in the game don't involve damage at all.
No, it's been battlefield
It's been
control.
battlefield control. It's been, I mean, before even we enter combat, I am disengaging. I am I'm de-escalating things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last session I literally something that was going to be a fight, I made it not a fight. I
Yep.
disappeared from somebody that was looking for us, and
Hmm.
also we kind of had a scuffle with a certain shopkeeper, and now he's tangentially kind of a contact
Kind
slash
of
friend.
contact.
So
Yeah.
it's like that.
Yeah.
That's where the value of my character is happening, not necessarily 8, 9, 10 damage, I am, I know
Right.
this guy now. I know this guy now. I have this contact now, and I understand where this person is, and I understand what their values and their goals are. How can I sabotage it
Yeah.
or empower it for the needs of our party?
And honestly, that's where a lot of player parties go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
NPCs are kind of like a way stop along the road.
Yeah.
And they don't think about the fact that, hey, I'm probably going to be back through this town again.
Yep.
And if I am, it would be great to have a point of contact that I
Yep.
can come to, for information on, like, I picked up a curiosity. I don't know what it is. Maybe this guy can research it for me.
Yeah.
They can sell you things. They can buy things from you. They can be a fount of information for you for
Yeah.
that particular city when you need information. So I try to get my players to cultivate those relationships. And
Well,
some players take to it, some don't.
yeah, I mean,
So,
if I have every innkeeper's name and the food that they served us and how nice it seemed and how where my room, if like, oh, this room looked at the street, that's a good room for me so I can look out. Like, I look like Gandalf in the first movie in Minas Tirith researching if the ring was real. Like, every time we play. And I have like all of it written, and like if Dad's like, oh, y'all are in this town, I just hit Control F and I search that town and if I've been there, and it's like, oh, that was 5 silver to sleep above the barn, and that guy was super nice, and he wasn't sketchy at all, and there was never a problem, and there wasn't anybody that seemed like they were watching us everywhere we go. And like, because for me, that is where my character can bring value. Whereas like my damage is just kind of okay. Josh does more damage with his hammer, Nathan does more damage with spells. My value comes outside of the battlefield, away from the battlefield, which is how I designed my character to work. Like, that's what I wanted him to be.
And that's part of what makes it a living, breathing world, right? Is you make these points of contact, you interact with them again and again, you develop a relationship with them, so that it makes the world feel more real, and it gives you, if things happen in that town or to that individual, they seem more real.
Well, to be fair, like,
character, they ripple out and impact you.
Yeah, well, to be fair, you empower that because you're so good at it. I mean, there might be people that hear us talk about it and they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like my dad, every time there's still a guy that I remember that you said he came into our shop. It was like the first couple sessions we played, and we were selling to a couple people, and then a guy came into our shop, and Nathan rolled a perception check, and you were like, "Yeah, this guy's got spell components on him, and he seems like he's probably an established wizard." I still remember that guy because that doesn't seem like something you would just kind of tell us, and it's like, "Oh, he doesn't mean that. Oh, he's just a guy." It's like, "Oh, well, who was that guy? What if we did roll better? What could that have been?" But you're also so good that you might leave a breadcrumb that's like a red herring and be like, "Oh, this guy looks like he means business," and then it's like, "Oh, he's just Ted. He's walking through." So it's like you never really know, and that's what makes it so fun. And like that was Josh's biggest thing. One of his big takeaways he tells me about is like, he's like, "Dude, there's so much happening, and there's so many people. Like, he's like, I don't know which like trail to follow," and that's kind of that video gamer sense of like, if I don't go down this trail, yeah, and it's like, but like that's for me, D&D is like the whole fun thing about it is like you're not getting penalized for not doing X, Y, or Z. You can kind of go do A, B, or C, and it's like doesn't matter because all progress, whether it's lateral or straightforward, is still progress. So like it doesn't, you never feel like you're wasting time like you can in a video game. In D&D, you're never really wasting time. You can. I try not to, but you can.
You can. You absolutely can. There's so many rabbit holes.
Yeah.
Speaking of rabbit holes, we're coming up on our anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
The MazeCast has been around for nearly a year.
Yeah, the website's been 2 years, but MazeCast is May 24th is our 1 year exactly since we uploaded to YouTube, which actually it took us about a week to edit back then. So it's probably we're probably right there.
We'll still call it May 24th.
Oh, for sure.
So we've got some plans. We've talked about this in the past about having some more guests on. So Stephen and I are planning to have both Nathan and Josh, who we've talked about, who are the other two players in the Master and Apprentice game.
Yep.
We're going to try to line up schedules, and we all know how schedulings are with D&D related items. But we're going to try to have them on with us on our next podcast, which will be a anniversary special podcast.
On this
so we're going to do
Saturday?
some things a little different. The Saturday is when we're planning our game. So we're going to try to get the two of them on a little early.
Yep.
Shoot the podcast prior to our Master and Apprentice
and then jump
game,
right in.
And then jump right into the game. So D&D all around on Saturday.
Yep.
And we may have my wife Autumn on. She's been on with us before to talk about Dragon Con. But we would like to get her perspective as a female gamer, especially somebody who's been playing for 30 plus years, on what she thinks about her husband running a D&D game, what her takeaways are as a female gamer, and what she likes and doesn't like. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to try to hit both sides. You hear two guys talking all the time, so we'd
Mm-hmm.
like to get the female perspective because there are lots of female gamers out there.
Mm-hmm.
We do have some female subscribers,
Yep.
and we want to show a little love to them too because they are part of the community just like everybody else.
Yep.
So look for that in the very near future. So you're going to get looks like 2 podcasts this week.
The double header.
Most likely, a double header. We want to thank you all for being here. Thank you for tuning in and sticking with us as we ramble on about the things that are nerdy and dear to our hearts. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Hit that like button, leave us a comment, tell us what you think, and share it with friends.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to grow this community and have more people in here to kind of give us their thoughts and things as things go on. Because contrary to what some people say, I do not think Dungeon Tube is dying. I think this is a great place for the hobby, and we want to share it with all of you.
Yep.
So with that, we will leave you. We wish you a good night. You are in the maze, so make sure you're marking those corners,
Mm-hmm.
keeping your torches lit, and you've got enough supplies to get back out, not just in.
Yep.
So, thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
See ya.
Good night.